Hi friends, Season 18 is in full flight in Apex Legends now, so I thought we could talk through what the current meta is looking like in Apex Legends Season 18. And we're going to start with the ranked meta. Prepare yourself for the slowest ranked progression you've ever had in a ranked season in Apex Legends. And that's because they've significantly reduced the points you get in ranked for placements and bonuses, after your placement games that is. And that just means your climb in ranked is going to be a little bit longer, although to be fair that kind of makes sense given they've removed the mid-season rank split. To go with this though, they are hitting people harder with where they're placing them after their placement games.
Actually gonna take you fucking years to get them pred.
If you take a look at Imperial Hal, he got placed in Gold 1 after his placement games, and he's often considered one of the best players in the game. Shiv FPS, the Warlord of Solo Queue ranked, also got put in Silver, which again is another surprising one, but it kind of shows the theme that's common across the player base, where people are getting put in 3 to 4 ranks below where they'd expect to finish the season at. And that's all just contributing to a slightly longer climb in ranked this season. Now to go with this kind of meta, it looks like the lobbies are starting out a bit harder. I'm seeing a lot of people complaining about the high tier players that they're getting in their games, and that's probably because people have been bunched together for the placement games, and I imagine this will likely start to even out as the good players start ranking up. Now I wouldn't say Ratpex Legends is quite back in Season 18's ranked meta, at least not from my experience so far, but I do have a feeling as the season goes on, people will start getting desperate to rank up to Masters again, and that's when we might see people starting to rat again. One thing I should say is it's definitely not as easy to rank up fast through ratting as it was last season, and that's because they have reduced the points you get from placement, and also the fact that you need to get top 8 now for positive points, as well as the higher entry costs which are more punishing, and the changes to the ring which make it a lot harder to rat outside the zone. But overall, if we summarise the ranked meta, I guess I would say it's kind of a grindy ranked meta where you're going to have to deal with a longer climb, less points and potentially sweatier lobbies to start with. Oh yeah, and don't forget there's no dive trail rewards this season for ranked, instead you'll get a ranked banner frame. But the good news is the devs have said they're working on better rewards for future seasons. Moving on to the weapon meta. The weapons actually feel fun this season, at least for me, and I feel like it brings back memories of previous seasons where certain weapons that weren't so good in recent seasons have come back to the forefront of the meta, and one such weapon is the Hemlock. Not only is it back in the sense of being out of the care package, it's also back because it feels very strong this season, and I feel like Season 7 was the last time I remember the Hemlock being this good. To go with this, there's a fairly strong shotgun meta in Season 18 as well. You'll be hard pushed to find a team that isn't rocking at least one shotgun in their team comp this season, and it's mainly because they've buffed the Mastiff spread where it's a lot easier to hit those big damage shots now, and the fact that they've added the disruptor rounds to the Peacekeeper, meaning you can now 2-tap enemies quite easily, and those of you that struggle to hit your PK shots, instead of dealing 9s, you'll now start dealing 11s. Oh, and speaking of the disruptor rounds, of course that means the alternator is back in the meta this season. It's not the most powerful it's ever been because they've reduced the damage multiplier from 1.55 to 1.2 this season. However, it's still a boss weapon for sure, and forming part of the early Season 18 weapon meta. Let's finish this video by talking about the Legend meta. I've got some interesting pick rates to show you, and you can see right here that Revenant Reborn has the highest pick rate at 14.5% in Season 18 right now. No doubt that's because he's kind of the new legend this season though, with all of his massive rework. I do think his pick rate will drop through the season, but from a personal point of view, I actually think he's surprisingly good, and I think there's some really cool things you can do with his abilities, specifically his tactical. And that means I think his pick rate will probably stick higher than the old Revenant for sure. Interestingly, for Masters and above ranked players, Horizon is still top with a 12.4% pick rate, and that goes along with a lot of the other top movement legends in the game. So that means there is still a strong movement legend meta in Apex Legends. The good news is the scan meta is still on the way down, with Seer getting some pretty big nerfs at the start of Season 18. So ultimately, if you're looking for a meta legend, your best bet is probably to choose a movement legend. Although I'll throw one last thing in, that support legends are holding fairly strong this season. Loba's had a much needed buff to her tactical, and Lifeline's pick rate is slightly up in Season 18 compared to this time last season. So that means support legends might be a good backup choice in the legend meta if you're not a movement type player. And there you have it, that's a summary of the overall meta, and I guess we'll just have to see how it plays out through the rest of the season. For now though, don't forget to like and subscribe, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you later.